Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to give you guys my WandaVision season finale review. Before we move on with the video, I want to thank each and every single one of you because while WandaVision has been airing on Disney+, the channel has been getting tremendous support. I've been uploading so many videos a week about WandaVision and you guys seem to love them. So hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any of the videos this weekend because I'm going to be jammed packed with WandaVision content on this channel all weekend. So starting off this video, I want to talk about the first battle that we got. Now this episode was jam packed with action. And in order to mix action and visuals and actually cap off the story that they started in all these previous episodes, they had to make every single second of this episode worth it, and they did. It didn't seem like they wasted any time. Even if it got slow at any points in time, it still felt like it was made up and it was actually useful because it meant so much, not only in our hearts, but we could feel it in the characters. Now I'm going to talk about Vision and all that stuff later. This episode, we got the first time seeing Wanda use her powers in so long, and we got it in like full form, full battle form. Now the next thing I want to talk about is White Vision. When White Vision got introduced, I thought it was absolutely crazy. Last episode, it wasn't as hyped for me just because, I don't know, I didn't really feel the vibes. Last episode was honestly super disappointing for me in general, so I felt like the White Vision introduction didn't really mean much. I felt like they kind of made that whole episode a lot slower and then introduced White Vision at the end to get us hype. So I think one super cool thing about the fight between Vision and Colorless Vision, I'm just gonna call him Colorless Vision, not White Vision. Basically, when they're fighting in the air, my favorite thing about the fight in general was not just like their choreography, but I think the camera movement in the air. Now, obviously, it was completely CGI, if I'm not mistaken, and I thought it was super cool. I thought the entire fight, anytime we saw both of those two fighting, it was honestly insane. Like, I was super excited, super hyped every single time both of them were fighting each other, just because of number one, how powerful they both are. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Wanda and Agnes versus White Vision and Vision. So this is the first time we got to see Vision and Wanda interact with each other after Vision left after episode 6 actually. So it's been 3 episodes since Wanda and Vision have actually met each other and talked to each other. So I thought that was pretty cool because when they first met, Wanda was like, "Oh, I know, I'm sorry, I'm gonna fix all of this," and Vision was like, "I know why you did this, it's okay." So it felt like they were on good terms. Vision completely understood what she was going through. And then at the end of the episode, obviously we get more of that conversation finished and revolved as the episode is coming to a close. Now the next thing I want to talk about is Agnes, and Agnes basically taking that mind control off of all of the people in Westview while they're in the little town square center. And Wanda is kind of like just standing there, and she's really scared because obviously she is putting all these people under mind control. They have families, they have lives outside of Westview. They also mentioned how all of the people in Westview have to go through Wanda's nightmares and they have to go through everything that Wanda goes through mentally. So obviously Wanda got really scared. She did her little blasty thingy and she blasted like a beam straight up into the air. And when she blasted it, the hex started to open up. All the people ran out of the hex, but while everyone was running out, swords started to come in. And then we saw Wanda have to make one of the biggest decisions of probably the entire episode, which was save the people in the Westview or save her family. So obviously she did the beam thing, all the people in Westview left, but she closed it just in time so that Vision and the 2 kids are fine and they don't die. Now I'm going to touch on the kids again later, obviously, because they have a pretty important role later on in the episode. Well, it's more towards the middle, actually. So while all this is going down, we get a nice cut to Monica and Quicksilver inside of a little like man cave. That's what Quicksilver called it. And so Ralph basically is Quicksilver. I mean, we figured that on this episode because we saw a picture of Quicksilver and it said Ralph at the bottom. Now, I don't know what this is necessarily. My prediction is that Agnes just took some random citizen and it happened to be Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver. I'm sorry if that's really sad for many people. It's sad for me because I thought this would be the first genuine X-Men crossover. Alright, so moving past that, Vision wanted to know all of the memories that kind of he had before Westview because obviously he couldn't remember anything because he was just basically a figment of imagination for Wanda when she created him in Westview. So he kind of put his finger onto the Colorless Vision's forehead and he kind of sucked in all the data, all the stuff that was in his brain before, and he learned everything that Wanda went through, everything that happened basically from like when they were introduced in Age of Ultron and then in Infinity War when he died. And then basically he realized that this is why Wanda did whatever she did. This is why Wanda created the Hex. This is why Wanda put everyone through this pain, is because of all that she went through. And I feel like this was a perfect story arc for Vision. The whole time was to understand what Wanda was going through and why she was doing everything. If you guys remember, in Civil War, he was learning how to cook. Vision can't eat food, if you guys didn't know. Vision cannot eat. Vision can't taste. He's a robot. The food just goes right through him. He doesn't actually digest food. He learned how to cook because it makes Wanda happy. He also, throughout all of WandaVision, tried to figure out what Wanda was going through. He wanted to know her pain. Vision the entire time was trying to figure out the emotions that Wanda was going through, and he could never understand it because he was only a figment of her imagination that was created in Westview. He had no memories before. So I felt like it was super cool that we got that closing arc, that Vision got to realize everything that Wanda was going through, and he had some sort of closure inside himself. Next thing that happens is the kids and Monica versus Sword. Now, when I tell you guys, I jumped out of my seat seeing Monica, I'm not even lying. Like, it was insane. So basically, Hayward shot the bullets. It hit Monica in her stomach, but her stomach went like see-through mode, and basically she's officially Spectrum. I mean, we haven't gotten any like genuine like name confirmation that she's Spectrum, but we can all assume that she is. We also see Wiccan and Speed using their powers. I think it was Wiccan, he stops a bullet using his powers, which is absolutely insane. After that, we get another Agnes versus Wanda battle. Now, this is the main battle of the entire episode. This is like the final boss battle. So basically, they're in the sky, and Agnes says, "Give me your powers, I'll rid you of all your pain, and you can live with your family in Westview." But Wanda's too smart. Wanda uses the spell that Agnes taught her while she was taking her powers. So basically, Wanda keeps shooting her powers at Agnes so Agnes can absorb it. And then Agnes says, only the person who creates this figmented reality is the one that can cast spells in it and like kind of actually create stuff, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but that's basically the premise of what Agnes said. So once Agnes gets all of Wanda's powers, we see Wanda come back. Wanda was like shriveled up and like all bony and stuff, but then we see Wanda coming back to life basically and regaining her powers, and then we see a massive beam of just red energy in the Scarlet Witch costume. Now this by far is one of the best costumes in the MCU in my opinion. It has that perfect mix of like sleek and like elegance and like badass. Like it's just everything combined, and it's super awesome overall. And at the end of the episode, we get to see her with her hood on, which makes the costume look even more sick. Wanda gets into that costume and she officially defeats Agnes. After this, we all think the episode is over. Wanda and Vision might live in the Hex forever, but then we realize that the Hex is closing rapidly. So probably one of the saddest moments of the entire episode. Actually, I would put this at second saddest moment of the entire episode. Wanda has to say goodbye to her kids. As her and Vision are saying goodnight to the kids, they see the Hex coming from their window, and honestly, I almost shed a tear at this part, and it was really just sad to see like so much character development in the kids, but I definitely don't think they're gone forever, and again, I'll touch on that a little bit later. We all know that the kids are going away because the Hex is just coming towards them, and we just don't want to see that, and they kind of go downstairs, Wanda and Vision go downstairs, and they kind of have this moment of realization of like, we genuinely love each other. And Wanda kind of expels to Vision how much she cares about him. And Vision asks, "What am I?" Because we've never actually gotten this question answered in WandaVision. What is Vision now after Wanda created this fake reality? And Wanda answers in probably the sweetest way possible. And I'm not gonna lie, I did shed a tear. I honestly probably cried a little more than I should have. It was just really sweet, and I thought that the character development between not only Wanda and Vision, but just Wanda and her emotions, it was so well developed throughout this entire show. Obviously, Vision isn't gone just yet because of White Vision. We don't know what happened to White Vision just yet. We don't know where he is. We don't know what he's gonna be doing in the future of the MCU. But we have to remember, he's still alive. It's not like he's gone. After this, Wanda says goodbye to Vision. Vision goes away in the Hex, whatever. He like fades away, and Wanda ends up back on the lot of where her house is getting built. After she leaves the lot, Jimmy Woo's conducting an investigation. I think he's still looking for the missing persons, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Monica and Wanda talk for a second. Monica says, "If I had your powers, I would bring my mom back too." And Wanda was like, "All these people are still gonna view me as a villain." And Monica said, "Don't worry, they'll never know what you gave up for them." Now, I slightly agree with this quote that Monica said, but at the same time, we have to realize that these citizens didn't do anything bad to deserve that and go through all of that trauma. but nevertheless, I do think that Wanda and everyone, I think it's fine. Like, I don't think there's going to be any like backlash or little issues that come up in the future of the MCU, but honestly, you never know. Now, moving on to the post-credit scene number 1. Now, personally, I thought both of the post-credit scenes were really good, and they really set up the future of Marvel. Now, they didn't directly show characters like I wanted them to, but they still did a great job, and I'm not going to let 2 post-credit scenes ruin my review of the entire episode. So, post-credit scene 1, Monica was called into the theater by some agent person, and basically the agent person turns into a Skrull, and she says, "Fury needs you." I think it was Fury, and then Monica's like, "Where do you want to meet?" And then the Skrull, she like transforms into her Skrull face, and she points upwards. So that means that Monica is going to go into space to either meet with Nick Fury or Talos, I think it was. And so this really does set up Secret Invasion. So yeah, the first post-credit scene definitely set up Secret Invasion, but the second post-credit scene is honestly what's most important. So the second post-credit scene that we see is somewhere in the middle of Canada, I think. It just looks like a big open, like nice open, like snowy forest area. And there's just a little cabin there. Wanda is sitting out on the porch, and the camera basically follows her through her house. She's getting another cup of what it looks like tea. And then the camera goes to the back room of the house where we see Scarlet Witch sitting or levitating in the air, reading the Darkhold. I think that's what the book is called. I'm not 100% sure, but I think she's reading the Darkhold. It's a book of spells, and she's basically learning how to use these spells. Now, this correlates directly to Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And I think the biggest thing we can take away from this post-credit scene is not just the fact that Wanda's trying to learn these spells, but the fact that we hear her kids in the background. So maybe Wanda is trying to bring back her family from a different multiverse. Now, I know that theory sounds like a little bit of a stretch, but why else will we hear her kid's voice? I think that's the only like logistical and realistic way that we would be able to connect this back to her family. Because I feel like Marvel developed her family way too much not to bring them back at some point. So I definitely feel like her kids are coming back, and obviously they're going to be part of the Young Avengers. So this would be a perfect way to set them up. We also know that in Multiverse of Madness, she has the potential to become a full-on villain. Now, there's 2 main theories about Scarlet Witch in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. She could obviously either become a villain, as I just mentioned, or her and Doctor Strange could go on just a series of journeys, basically reversing everything that Wanda messed up in like the multiverse. Now, I honestly would love to see her as a villain, but not as like a super evil villain, just like an anti-hero. And I think this perfectly sets it up. Maybe she learns so much magic that she becomes way too powerful. Now, we all know that Scarlet Witch is going to have a major role to play in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So yes, I'm disappointed that Doctor Strange didn't have some sort of cameo, even if it was a little one, in this show, but I'm not going to let one little cameo degrade the entire show or even the entire episode. My final consensus on this episode alone is that it was the best one of the entire series, and it made this entire series one of my favorite pieces of Marvel content that's ever been made. This episode had a perfect blend of action and emotion, and it basically hit home on every single cylinder. It was the perfect way to cap off a series full of emotional roller coasters, and honestly, it made every single second of it worth it. Let me know what you guys thought of the episode in the comments down below. Also, hit that subscribe button while you're down there. Also, share it with your friends if you guys did enjoy this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.